Dear students, it is the fourth video, week 5 Pakistan Studies, and we are learning the first 10 years of Pakistan, the age of vertical turmoil and challenge. Dear students, in the video 4th, we discussed 2 points: that Constitution was the basic requirement, and Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah was quite eager to give Constitution to Pakistan. But he passed away, unfortunately couldn't give, and the responsibility was shouldered to Khan Liaquat Ali Khan. Khan Liaquat Ali Khan gave the objective resolution as a guideline, and on that objective resolution, a basic principle committee was designed that was to explore further dimensions and to give the guidelines for the final constitution. Unfortunately, Liaquat Ali Khan passed away during all the process, but before his death, Liaquat Ali Khan also had to shoulder many other responsibilities, and their responsibilities were keeping peace, managing the immigrants and the people on the both sides in India and Pakistan. This was a negotiation between the heads of the state. Pakistan had Liaquat Ali Khan and the Indian Prime Minister Nehru, Jawaharlal Nehru, in 1950. Actually, when Pakistan and India separated, fine, in partition, it was quite unexpected for all the people. But Hindus and Sikhs reacted a lot, and they decided to slay and destroy everyone who was in the favor of Pakistan. And same thing happened. A large number of Muslims left in India. I mean, the Muslims living in both Bangladesh and Pakistan the Muslims left in the entire India, because you know that for 1,000 years Muslims were living in there. They had the properties, they had the business, they had everything over there. Whatever was left after the British Raj and British atrocities, even then it was quite good. They were the notable people for centuries. But this shift changed the scenario. A large number of Muslims left over there. Hindus destroyed and killed their properties, and they were not given the right. They were treated as traitors. This was really a time quite challenging. And same thing in Pakistan. I mean, a large number of Hindu community also left in Sindh, in Tharparkar, in Balochistan, and certain other areas, and there were also few Sikh families also stayed here, and they are still living in Pakistan. This was the test. Therefore, a large communal riots broke out in different areas of India and Pakistan. The impact on the status of minorities in the two nations, and they were giving both in trouble. Two prime ministers met in Delhi on April 2nd, 1950. Clear, the two prime ministers negotiated. The meeting lasted for 6 long days. Means it was such a complex, such a intricate and significant matter that this meeting continued for 6 days. On April 8th, the both leaders signed an agreement which was later entitled as Liaquat Nehru Pact. It is very important document and peace agreement between the two neighboring countries, and it has a great impact on the lives, that this pact actually helped saving thousands of the families. And later on, although the situation was normalized, okay, and both ends people started accepting this, the reality that Pakistan and India now, they are the both the realities, fine, and they have to go together. Indeed, our leaders had this vision, and they did it quite wholeheartedly. Next, main points of the Liaquat Nehru Pact. To alleviate the fears of religious minorities on both sides, that religious terror and religious minorities, from the Muslims were minorities in India and the Hindus were a minority in Pakistan, and you know that there are large population was Hindu in East Pakistan. Clear? To elevate communal peace, that the peace between Aman, peace, tranquility between both the nation, religion, both the religions will be promoted, that Pakistan will promote harmony and peace with the minorities left in Pakistan, whereas Indian government will promote and elevate the peace and harmony in their own, to create an atmosphere in which two countries could resolve their other differences. And they agreed that both the nation should create opportunities and atmosphere where they could go together. Fine. This Liaquat Nehru Pact is one of the very important development at the initial stage. Khwaja Nazimuddin becomes Prime Minister in 1951 to 1953. Here starts the dramatic downfall and the real drama in the Pakistan political history. And the reason is that Muslim League the initial leaders were wonderful, but the internal differences, that was a few I discussed in the objective resolution and principal committee, they really were the alarming ones. Liaquat Ali Khan was assassinated on October 16, 1951. Khwaja Nazimuddin, who was the Governor General at the time, had to take the seat of the Prime Minister, whereas Ghulam Muhammad, who was the Finance Minister since the inception of Pakistan, was elevated to the post of the Governor General. Okay, Khwaja Nazimuddin, because the position of the Prime Minister was very important from the management point of view, whereas the Governor General was the constitutional head. Fine. So the Khwaja Nazimuddin had to leave the position of Governor General and became the Prime Minister, whereas Ghulam Muhammad, who was the Finance Minister from start of Pakistan, became the Governor General. Khwaja Nazimuddin remained in the office till 1953, but in his time there happened lots of problems. Okay, the first problem was that the economic crisis. The country was divided and the people didn't have the money, okay, and the pressure of the immigrants was also there, And also the local government and the people, they started snatching property and looting, capturing the land. There were so many problems that Khaja Nazmuddin had to face. One of the big problem at that time was Tafze Khatme Nabuwat. Okay, that at the time Khatme Nabuwat movement started, and unfortunately, within the top post politicians, they were backing. One was backing at the one end, the other was backing on the other end. Okay, and this was really one of the challenging position for Khwaja Nazmuddin. Khwaja Nazmuddin himself was a very kind and meek personality. He was a wonderful person, whereas the government have to be dealt by iron-handed, and therefore Khaja Nazmuddin was forced to leave the office, and it was first most unfortunate event that happened, and this settled the routine to dismiss the prime ministers. And in the later situations, we find the the dismissal of the Benazir Bhutto government, the dismissal of Nawaz Sharif, and many others. Okay, they are actually, that is the first incident which took place. And the Governor General, mean Ghulam Muhammad, appointed Muhammad Ali Bogra, an less famous politician from the East Pakistan, as the prime minister. And he appointed him because he wanted that he should indirectly control the position or the power in Pakistan, because a strong prime minister wouldn't let him exercise his will. I told you that there is a disease of the authority, that when once some person tastes the authority, become officer and become the head of the state, he doesn't want to leave it. Okay, this is the nature of human being, that once he achieves a level, he doesn't want to give in, he doesn't want to hand over. And this transfer of power is a very challenging thing, and this human weakness became the weakness of the state, because we find that the people from then to today, they don't want to give the power, and all the street and communal violence and the political riots and the sit-ins and dharne, they are actually are for the transfer of the power. I am sure that you have understood the reason that why Khwaja Nazmuddin was removed from the prime ministership. Ghulam Muhammad became the Governor General. Okay, this is the Ghulam Muhammad. When Khwaja Nazmuddin took over as the prime minister in 1951, Ghulam Muhammad was appointed as the Governor General. He dismissed Prime Minister Khwaja Nazmuddin in April 1953 and appointed Muhammad Ali Bogra. Ghulam Muhammad, mean the Governor General, also dissolved the Constituent Assembly. Mean उसे assembly तोड़ दी. This is a very common word we hear. Assembly टूट गई, assembly टूट गई. This is dissolve the Constituent Assembly. And the new Prime Minister Muhammad Ali Bogra declared that he will give and make a new constitution for Pakistan, and that is his Prime Minister ने उन्होंने कहा कि I'll make the first constitution for Pakistan. Okay. Ghulam Muhammad was forced to retire from the post of the Governor General. Remember, Ghulam Muhammad continued as Governor General, but he didn't have the good health, and some say that he gone insane in the last day of his governorship, and therefore the high officials forced him to leave, give up, and Major General Iskandar Mirza, clear, he was the interior minister, then took over the office. Mean Iskandar Mirza, Major General Iskandar Mirza became the Governor General of Pakistan. Means Ghulam Muhammad removed Nazmuddin, and Iskandar Mirza came and he removed Ghulam Muhammad from the Governor General office. Isn't it unfortunate? Unfortunate, and you find this is the series that continues, that one remove others, another remove the others. Bogra Nehru negotiations. Well, this is Muhammad Ali Bogra tried to settle the disputes among Pakistan and India. India was also facing some troubles, but Pakistan's troubles were more frequent. And within the first 3 to 4 years, Pakistan had two major wars in 1947, 1948, and there were other disputes also, that India was expanding its territories in all directions. Bogra took the step. He was hopeful to reconcile or agree the Indian leadership to peace settlement, made an impassioned appeal to Pandit Nehru to settle all the outstanding disputes between two countries. He appealed Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Due to his efforts, the two prime ministers met informally in London in June 1953. He made efforts and he agreed, and both met in London in June 1953 on the occasion of the Commonwealth Prime Minister Conference. Commonwealth actually was, you can say, Tanzim, or you can say a committee of the people who remained under the British rule. They are called Commonwealth, and they met there. Muhammad Ali Bogra urged Nehru to realize the desirability of the settling Kashmir dispute. Muhammad Ali Bogra urged Nehru to realize and desired to dispute, but Nehru was quite cunning. He didn't accept it. He made so many pretexts, but he didn't talk about Kashmir because he didn't want Kashmir to be compromised. Anyway, but they continued in August 1953. Their effort were resulted in a statement, and they are the following points. It was their opinion this dispute would be settled in accordance with the wishes of Kashmiris by a fair and impartial plebiscite. Anyhow, Indians accepted this, that the dispute of Kashmir will be decided through Istaswabirai plebiscite, mean the people of Kashmir will vote to which country they want to live. Either they want to join India, they want to join Pakistan, or they want to stand as the independent state. The plebiscite administrators should be appointed by the end of the April 1954. And these members will, from both Pakistan and India, will be appointed in 1954. The preliminary issues that had so far held up progress towards a plebiscite should be decided, and action in the implementation thereof should be taken, and with this object in view, committees of the military and other experts should be appointed to advise the two prime ministers. Okay, and before April 1954, it was decided that committees of the boundary commissions and armed forces leaders shall be constituted in both countries, and they will agree both. They will advise the prime ministers of their own countries, okay, about all the fashion and design, how that plebiscite will take place finally. Progress could only be made in this direction if there was an atmosphere of peace and cooperation between two countries. It could work well, but unfortunately, the situation between both the countries went worse. There were so many other areas where the disputes, like in Rann of Kutch and water disputes and the disputes of the rivers. There were so many disputes that the Kashmir issue went in delay and decay. West Pakistan established as one unit 1955. As I told you that in time of Khwaja Nazmuddin in 1951 round, the political situation in Pakistan was inexplicable. The riot, tension, demonstrations, political and communal violence was there. Political leaders and parties were fighting, and the people want more representation. Also, the military of also the what we say establishment had taken, like the Governor General was also the manifest, the management. Fine. These issues were very bleak and were very burning issues. Then the Governor General of Pakistan decided that all the 4 provinces and states of the West Pakistan should be merged into one unit. That ये जो 5 सूबे थे पाकिस्तान के और डिफरेंट स्टेट्स थी, उनको एक सूबा बना दिया. Prime Minister Muhammad Ali Bogra was made the first Prime Minister, okay, and he announced, Prime Minister Muhammad Ali Bogra made the first announcement of the one unit in 1940, November 22nd, 1954. On September 30th, 1955, the Assembly passed the bill merging 31 lakh square kilometers into a single province. I mean, this would have been one of the very largest province, and Lahore was marked its provincial capital. Although apparently it became very good step, but it created the deprivation, linguistic and provincial hate developed. Why? Because the people of East Pakistan wanted Dhaka to be their capital, okay, and other things emerged. The Constitution of 1956. Fine. I think the Constitution of 1956 was the first achievement by the Pakistan government, but unfortunately this constitution couldn't work because the Prime Minister was not considered to be the elected Prime Minister. Anyway, go on reading. Chaudhry Muhammad Ali along with his team worked day and night to formulate a constitution for Pakistan. On March 23rd, 1956, Pakistan's status as a dominion ended and the country was declared an Islamic. Clear? Before this, Pakistan was taken as dominion. Dominion means under the constitutional principle as the part of Great Britain. कि तब तक पाकिस्तान जो था till 1956, Pakistan was a part constitutionally. Okay, the government of Pakistan was free, but constitutionally it was considered that Pakistan is still under the Great Britain, and this status was ended and Pakistan was declared an Islamic country. Governor General Iskandar Mirza was sworn in as the first president of Pakistan. When the dominion was over, the department of Governor General as the head of the state was over. Governor General means equivalent to Viceroy. Fine. And Iskandar Mirza became the first President of Pakistan. 1956 Constitution consisted of 234 articles which were divided into 13 parts and 6 schedules, and it was perhaps one of the largest, lengthy constitutions. The only House of Parliament, National Assembly, was to consist of the 300 members, and there was just one House, National Assembly, and the total members were decided 300. Hussain Shahid Sohrawardi becomes the Prime Minister 1957. This is, that with quite a little time duration, the Prime Ministers are changing. Khwaja Nazmuddin, and then Muhammad Ali Bogra, and now Hussain Shahid Sohrawardi. Soon after the adoption of the 1956 Constitution, Hussain Shahid Sohrawardi replaced Chaudhry Muhammad Ali as the Prime Minister on September 12, 1956. The allegation on the Muhammad Ali Bogra was because he didn't have the main support of any strong political party. Fine. One unit and the appropriate electoral system for Pakistan, whether joint or separate, revived soon as Sohrawardi became Prime Minister. Okay, one unit was revived. In West Pakistan, there was strong opposition to the joint electorate by the Muslim League and the religious parties. One unit in West Pakistan, there was strong opposition of the religious parties, and especially the Muslim League really didn't like. Sohrawardi and his party in East Pakistan supported the joint electorate, एक ही house हो. Sohrawardi's decision to distribute the better part of, now some of the achievements of the Sohrawardi, but you know that in this era, due to the lack of constitution ना होने की वजह से, there are so many experiments, there are so many say unwise decisions. Sohrawardi's decision, 10 million US dollars to East Pakistan to set up National Shipping Corporation. Clear? He allocated 10 million US dollars to 8 East Pakistan to set up the National Shipping Corporation because, Sohrawardi resigned under the threat of dismissal on October 10th, 1957. And again, political instability, differences, lack of major constitution, Sohrawardi also had to resign from the office, and Ibrahim Ismail Chandrigar becomes Prime Minister in 1957. When Sohrawardi resigned from his office in October 1957, President Iskandar Mirza appointed Ibrahim Ismail Chandrigar as the interim Prime Minister. President Iskandar Mirza appointed, and he remained in this ministry for only 2 months. And again, he had to resign. And after he has resigned, Malik Feroz Khan Noon became the Prime Minister in 1957. And in 1957, you find that there are almost 3 presidents changed. And now, ouster of the President Iskandar Mirza in 1958. Finally, Iskandar Mirza became quite unpopular because he sacked 3 prime ministers, and they were all constitutional complications, and the country was under serious challenge, clear economic challenge, political challenge. And on October 7th, 1958, President Iskandar Mirza abrogated the constitution and declared martial law in the country and became the martial law administrator. But Ayub Khan, under martial law under Ayub Khan, okay, 1958 to 1962. Okay, Iskandar Mirza introduced the martial law in Pakistan, and on October 7th, 1958, President Iskandar Mirza abrogated the constitution and declared martial law in the country. Ministers were dismissed, central provincial assemblies were dissolved, all political parties were banned, and General Ayub Khan, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, became the chief martial law administrator. The new military government promised that they will bring the basic reforms and they will settle the political disputes in the country and will structure a better format. And in order to achieve his ends, public servants were tried for the misconduct by tribunals consisting of the retired judges of the Supreme Court or the High Courts. This is what was the worst thing, that the civil bureaucracy came under the threat and public servants were tried because of their mismanagement, corruption, or whatever the allegations. About 3,000 officials were dismissed and many others were reduced in rank as a result of these measures. Where this is again pitiful that a country in 1947 was in dire need of the capable officials, whereas in 1958 to 1959 they are dismissing almost 3,000 officials. Well, it is ironic, बड़ी interest की बात है, and it is also बड़े अफसोस की बात है that this practice of appointing and dismissing the officers is still continued, and especially in last 2 decades, all the political parties, when they come into power, the first thing they do is the transfer of the officers and appointing their favorite authorities. This concept of the favoritism is destroying the federalism and weakening the state. Well, the students, Field Marshal Ayub Khan took the power. He decided to dissolve the political state inequalities. He tried to bring reforms. He penalized the civil servants, but in his first time, army tasted the civil bureaucracy and a new era of management, a new type of management started in Pakistan with the collaboration of the army officers and the civil bureaucracy. Fine. But later on, Ayub Khan took the power and he introduced the PD members. He designed 1962 constitution. He became the president of Pakistan. He took very innovative and revolutionary steps to boost the economic prosperity in Pakistan. He brought the for second economic policy. He made improved agriculture. He brought industry in Pakistan. He settled the boundary disputes. He settled the water disputes, and he built dams. Okay, under his government, the Pakistan television, theater, schools, and college, they were established. Lots of things established, but a dilemma was left. That was the separation of powers. That a more confusion happened into the political system. Fine. This martial law is considered to be the birth of many issues in the present day. And from that time, the parliamentary system lost much of its power. Okay. The students, I'm sure that from this lesson, week 5, we have learned the point that constitution is the basic power which decides the rules and regulations in the country, and the departments and officials have to work within that limits. Secondly, provincial linguistic issues and the religious issues can be very dangerous for the solidarity and prosperity of the country. Thank you very much.